This is the Coronavirus Global Update on the 27th of June. I'm Charlotte Gallagher. The Spanish island of Ibiza prepares to open up nightclubs again. Moscow records the highest death toll in a Russian city since the start of the pandemic. And in South Africa, the Delta variant dominates new infections in the country. 1,500 key workers have had the chance to dance in some nightclubs on the Spanish island of Ibiza this weekend to test if they can reopen safely. They are allowed to join the trial only if they've been fully vaccinated or tested negative for COVID. Fat Phil Cooper is a DJ and says Ibiza needs clubbing.
There is something magical about the island. Ibiza is about the clubbing, and it would be foolish. You can't stop clubbing, simple as, there needs to be a place for it somewhere, and if it's not here, it's going to be somewhere else.
Moscow has recorded 144 COVID deaths in the last 24 hours, the worst toll in a Russian city since the start of the pandemic. Infections have been surging in Russia for weeks, blamed on the Delta variant. In the European Championships, dozens of Finland supporters caught coronavirus in St. Petersburg after they travelled to the city last week for the match against Belgium. 559 people have died in Russia of coronavirus over the past 24 hours, bringing the national official toll to more than 133,000. Russia is the sixth worst hit COVID-19 country in the world and the worst in Europe. Officials in South Africa say the Delta coronavirus variant now appears to be dominating new infections in the country, which is the worst hit on the continent. South Africa's acting health minister, Mameloko Kubayi, said the new variant was driving a third wave.
Previously, we had communicated that the third wave peak is unlikely to surpass the second wave peak. So we were not seeing these numbers in terms of modeling, but this was based on the assumption that South Africa does not get a new variant. Unfortunately, this is no longer the case. Our scientists, after their sequencing experiments, have discovered that we have a new variant that is prevalent in our country.
Malaysia is extending a national lockdown that was due to have ended on Monday. Malaysians are currently banned from travelling more than 10 kilometres from home. Schools are closed and only businesses deemed essential are allowed to operate. The Prime Minister, Muhyiddin Yassin, said the restrictions would not be eased until the number of new infections fell below 4,000 a day. More than 5,500 new cases were reported in the 24 hours to Sunday. The National Health Service in England says that by Sunday, half of all adults who are under 30 years old will have received their first dose of a vaccine. More than 4.2 million people aged between 18 and 29 have had a jab, 3 weeks after the programme opened to this age group. Dr Ellie Cannon says the figures back up what she has witnessed, that young people are keen to get vaccinated.
This shows how keen young people are. 50% is a huge number. They've queued up, they've got their jabs. They want to protect each other just like other people do. They've had a very, very hard pandemic with lots of opportunities taken from them. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's incredibly positive.
And the Wimbledon Tennis Championships are back, but the famous queues at dawn to get tickets are banned, and there are no paper tickets this year. Spectators who do have digital tickets on their phones must also show proof of 2 vaccine jabs or a negative test. The final on centre court will be in front of full capacity crowds. The tournament's operations director is Michelle Dite. She says there will be strict rules for the players.
They're in a player environment, very different to a player hotel environment, different to what they've encountered before. We've called it a minimised risk environment. So there's still restrictions on social distancing, how they move. There's still restrictions on the transport. So we're keeping them together within their close group.
And that was the Coronavirus Global Update.